Hi friends, welcome to my recap of study article 46, where newly married couples will learn that they must build their lives around serving Jehovah. So before we get started, yes, I did something. I know so many of you have told me they like my hair long, but I just had to do something different. So hope you like it, friends. Let's dive right into this article. Here it is, newly married couples build your life around serving Jehovah. The theme verse is Psalms 28:7. Jehovah is my strength, in him my heart trusts. Friends, listen, I just have got to get into this. The theme verse is when, look at verse 1 in white there. David is crying out for the Lord. He calls him, O Lord, my rock, to be not silent to David. He's crying out to God to save him from his enemies. The theme verse is in yellow. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusted in him and I am helped. Watchtower says that this is talking about Jehovah, but I have got to get into this very briefly. There's the verse again on the top, verse 7, the Lord is my strength. But I want to show you Deuteronomy 32:3 and 4, what is in yellow. Because I will publish the name of the Lord. He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are judgment, a God of truth. So Deuteronomy 32:4 calls him the rock. Look up at the top in white, Psalms 1. David says, O Lord, my rock. Now we're going to go down to 1 Corinthians 10:4. In talking about the Israelites in the wilderness, it says, and did all drink the same spiritual drink, for they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. And who was the rock? The rock was Christ. Friends, Psalms 28, Deuteronomy 32, they're talking about Christ. It's very clear. Read those scriptures, put them all into context. These verses are not talking about the Jehovah of the Watchtower Corporation, okay? The Old Testament, one of the names of God in the Old Testament is Jehovah, Jehovah Jireh. 1 Corinthians 10:4 says that is Christ. The God of the Old Testament was Christ, friends. The God of Watchtower does not exist in the Bible. Let's get into this article. All right, notice the preview, friends. Some decisions we make can affect the amount of time and energy we have available to serve Jehovah. Newly married couples in particular face decisions that can have a long-term impact on their life. Oh, okay. So let's go to paragraph 2 in the box. Although this article is directed to newly married couples, it will discuss challenges that all married couples may face. Listen to this. It will highlight what we can learn from the examples set by some faithful men and women of the Bible. These Bible examples teach us lessons that we can apply in various areas of life, including marriage. You are just not going to believe what Bible lessons this article uses. We're talking about newly married couples. Check this out. Paragraph 3. What's underlined? Some people may encourage a newly married couple to live a so-called normal life. For example, parents and other relatives might pressure a couple to start having children as soon as possible. Did God not say to multiply the earth? Is having children really that bad, friends? Let's keep going. What's underlined? Might urge newlyweds to buy a house and fill it with nice things. Paragraph 4, in black, what's underlined? Decisions that cause them to incur burdensome debts. Keep going. Could begin to cut into the time that should be spent in personal Bible study, family worship, and the ministry. The couple may even miss meetings. Incurring burdensome debts is never good, right? Causes a lot of pressure. But what's wrong with buying things and doing things within one's means? I don't have burdensome debts. I stay within my means. Paragraph 5, in the box in red, experience shows that focusing our life on gaining material things does not lead to happiness. That's true. So we're going to continue reading in pink what's underlined. We are told the story of Klaus and Marissa. At the start of their marriage, life was complicated and stressful. Perhaps you too have noticed that focusing on gaining material things has not brought you satisfaction. Do not be discouraged. Considering the good examples of others can help you in this regard. Like King Jehoshaphat, trust in Jehovah. Husbands, do you sometimes feel overwhelmed by your responsibilities? If so, you can benefit benefit from Jehoshaphat's example. What's underlined? Jehoshaphat did what he could to protect those under his care. He fortified the cities of Judah and assembled a mighty force of more than 1.1 million soldiers. Are we talking about husbands? What are we talking about here? Later, Jehoshaphat was confronted with a serious challenge. A large army threatened him, his family, and his people. Here we go. Watchtower uses a warrior king as an example for husbands. Jehoshaphat relied on the God of the Old Testament and therefore saw a victory for his army. Read the story of Jehoshaphat. But he cries this prayer. This prayer had been cried before. We're going to get into that briefly because it's so interesting. So that's the setting of Jehoshaphat. Let's see how Watchtower tries to tie this in. Paragraph 7 in the box in black. Jehovah said in response to this prayer, "Take your position, stand still, and see the salvation of Jehovah in your behalf." The next box in orange says, Jehovah did not let Jehoshaphat down. He defeated the enemy army. Husbands, you can learn from Jehoshaphat's example. You are responsible for the welfare of your family, so you work hard to protect and support your family. Listen, friends, what did God tell Jehoshaphat? Follow that red arrow. He said, "Stand ye still." The King James uses the word ye to mean all of you. It's plural. So he didn't just say to Jehoshaphat alone, "Stand still, Jehoshaphat." He said to Jehoshaphat and his army, "You guys do nothing. Stand still and see the salvation." God saved them. You see that word, salvation? They did nothing. The God of Watchtower requires their followers to work hard. Today, salvation is what God again has done for us. In Jesus dying for us and shedding his blood. Stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord Jesus Christ. You put your faith and trust in him. Just as Jehoshaphat's army stood still and put their faith and trust in what was saving them at that time. Now, of course, that wasn't on a spiritual sense. It wasn't talking about their saving their eternal salvation. You'll see it some more. Let's keep going. Friends, look at Exodus chapter 14 there on the right. It was the same thing. In response to Moses, God said the same thing. What's underlined? "Fear ye not, stand still, and see the salvation of the Lord. For the Egyptians whom ye have seen today, ye shall see them again no more forever." God responded to Moses the same way. The Israelites had escaped Egypt. Pharaoh changed his mind, sent his army after them. And what happened? The Israelites got as far as they could. They are at the Red Sea. They could not go any further. And Pharaoh's army was coming behind them. They could do nothing to save themselves. They could not write letters to Pharaoh's army. They couldn't go knocking on the doors. God said, "All of you, stand still and see the salvation of the Lord." Read the account. All right, now we're going to go to the blue box. However, resist the inclination to rely on your own strength. Seek direction from Jehovah by studying the Bible and publications provided by God's organization. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. All right, so you read the publications, right? That's what they want you to do. And the counsel you receive, if you're a husband, a newlywed, is King Jehoshaphat. But if you read the Bible alone, wise counsel for husbands would produce these results. Colossians 3:19, husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. Isn't that excellent counsel? Husbands, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church. I don't recommend reading these publications. They don't make sense. The counsel they give do not make sense. Others might not agree with the Bible-based decisions you make. And they might even tell you that you are being foolish. Well, if you're looking for counsel about Jehoshaphat to be applied to a good husband, then I can understand why others might tell you you're being foolish. That's pretty foolish. Moving along in pink. But remember the example of Jehoshaphat. He trusted in Jehovah and proved it by his actions. Jehovah did not abandon that loyal man. Friends, do you see the condition and the result? If you trust in the God of Watchtower, he will not abandon you. What if you don't? What if you start having doubts about this organization? Do you see the hook there? This is one of the things that keeps the indoctrinated. They are so afraid that if they have a doubt, if they don't trust in Jehovah, that they will be without God, and that's not the case. This is why the governing body members could make statements in that, I think it was the 2013 Watchtower, that said to listen and obey the elders, even if the instructions do not appear sound from a human standpoint. That's dangerous. That's so dangerous. But when you have conditions and results such as this, trust Jehovah or he will abandon you. In effect, that's what they're saying. Now they have a Watchtower magazine giving counsel to husbands about a warrior king by the name of Jehoshaphat. Yeah, he was faithful to God, but this is battle jargon. So, all right, let's keep going. Paragraph 9 in the box. Like the prophet Isaiah and his wife, build your life around serving Jehovah. What's underlined? And it may well be that Isaiah's wife had her own prophetic assignments. They cite Isaiah 8, 1 through 4. Isaiah's wife was referred to as the prophetess. She conceived and bare a son. That's really all we know about Isaiah's wife. Paragraph 10 in orange in the box. Married couples today can build their life around serving Jehovah by doing all they can in his service. Once again, 2 Chronicles 20, which they cited earlier, stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord. It's in direct contradiction to what the paragraph says. All right, so paragraph 11, they bring in Priscilla and Aquila. They put kingdom interests first. Look at the green box on the right. In their new home in Corinth, Aquila and Priscilla got involved with the local congregation. 1 Corinthians 16:19 says, the church that is in their house. It's not a kingdom hall. It's not a local congregation. First century Christians met in houses, very similar to the book study. Remember? If any of you were around during the book study, we had a book study on Tuesday nights. It was 1 hour in the local homes, the homes of the brothers and sisters. Maybe 10, 12, 15 people at the most would be there. And it depended if it was snowing out or not. And but Watchtower had to stop the book study because they could not control what people were learning. They could not script it enough. So Watchtower is trying to tell you that Priscilla and Aquila were Jehovah's Witnesses and they met in congregations, but they didn't. They met in very small, unscripted gatherings, which is definitely not what the Jehovah's Witnesses do. Paragraph 12, what's underlined? Modern day couples can imitate Priscilla and Aquila by putting kingdom interests first. Paragraph goes on to talk about the experience of Russell and Elizabeth, who moved to Micronesia. Moving on to paragraph 13 in the box. Like Russell and Elizabeth, many couples have made the decision to devote as much time as possible to the preaching and teaching work by keeping free from other commitments. What happened to stand ye still? That was the command given to Jehoshaphat and their army. Paragraph 14, like the Apostle Peter and his wife, trust Jehovah's promises. In the pink box, undoubtedly her example as a Christian wife gave Peter freeness of speech to record inspired counsel for Christian husbands and wives. Paragraph 15 in the blue box. If you have been married for a few years, how can you continue to cultivate the desire to expand your ministry? What about standing still and seeing the salvation of the Lord? One way is by taking note of the experiences of other couples. For instance, you could read the series, They Offered Themselves Willingly. Friends, what does that mean, offering oneself? I want to refer you to Genesis 22. Abraham was told to, what's underlined, offer him there. In verse 8, Abraham said, God will provide himself a lamb. That was just a lesson. See, back then the pagans were doing human sacrifice. It was a lesson for Abraham. Offer your son, not sacrifice your son. Abraham obeyed and offered, knowing that God would resurrect him if needed. Read the account. He even told his servants, stand there at the base of the mountain. The lad and I are going up, and we will return. God had already told Abraham that he was going to build a nation through his seed. Abraham believed him. So when God said, offer your son, he was willing to. God didn't say sacrifice your son. So when Jehovah's Witnesses say, read this art series, they offered themselves willingly. I find that terrifying. You have to understand the subtlety of all of this. Listen, you guys, a lot of you may not see what I see. A lot of you, you may just be like, she just is looking way into this stuff. I'm not. I've recapped too many of these study articles. I recapped the conventions. I think it was Always Rejoice Convention 2020, where Sanderson's talk on martyrdom was terrifying. He said that word martyr and martyrdom like 100 times. You guys, it's just too much. Paragraph 16 in the box. Young couples today can benefit from the experience of others who have learned to rely on Jehovah. Some couples may have spent decades serving in the full-time ministry. Why not seek their advice if you feel the need to assess your goals? This is another way to show that you are trusting in Jehovah. Friends, notice paragraph 8 there that I copied in that yellow box. Remember the example of Jehoshaphat, that warrior king. He trusted in Jehovah and proved it by his actions. Jehovah did not abandon that loyal man. Look at the words, friends, and he will not abandon you. Paragraph 17 in blue. At times, though, our decision to expand our service may not turn out as we expected. And then they go into more examples. Paragraph 18 in the green box. You can be certain that you will have a happy and rewarding life if you build your marriage around serving Jehovah. That's it for study article 46. I wonder what the indoctrinated Jehovah's Witnesses think of this. I don't know. They're probably not even paying attention. But I hope you've learned something, friends. Jesus is the rock. The salvation of the Lord is Jesus. Stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord. Don't work for it. Why is that so hard for so many people? It's a gift. We're in the age of grace now, friends. Stand ye still and see the salvation of the Lord. Put your faith and trust in Jesus Christ today, friends. He did the work for you. He died for you. He took on the weight of sin in his body for you. It was more than just the torturous death. It was what occurred in the spirit world. Anyway, friends, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great day.